Hi class. In this video I'm going to show you what is called atomic structure. So we're looking at what makes up an atom, right? Just the general basic structure of an atom. Remember that an atom is the unit that has the smallest unit that has the property of the element. So when we're looking at chemical elements, what we really need to know is what their atoms look like, and that can kind of tell us what kind of physical and chemical properties it will have. And now, all atoms are made of what are called subatomic particles. So the prefix sub means below or smaller or less than, right? So these are particles that are smaller than the atom itself. Okay, there are three subatomic particles that we'll find. Protons, which have a positive charge. Electrons, which have a negative charge. And neutrons, which have no charge. They are neutral. All right, so these are our subatomic particles. And then I'm going to show you a picture. Where we're heading with this is building kind of a very generic picture of an atom and of atomic structure. So we kind of got to know location for these things. So the protons are in what's called the atomic nucleus, as are the neutrons. So protons and neutrons in the atomic nucleus. And the nucleus is just the core. It's the center part of the atom. And then the electrons are in what are called shells that will go around the core or the nucleus of the atom. All right, so here is basic idea of atomic structure. So the way I draw these, let's say if we're looking at something like carbon. So we did this in the periodic table. Sorry. We did this in the periodic table lecture video. Right? We kind of looked at what these numbers meant and all that. So we know from the periodic table here that this carbon is going to have 6 protons. Right? That's what the atomic number tells us. It's going to have 6 neutrons because neutrons are atomic mass minus atomic number. So in this case 12 minus 6. And then it's going to have 6 electrons because we know this atom's got to be neutral. So if there are 6 positive protons, there have to be 6 negative electrons. Okay, so then what I do with this is just inside, I draw a circle, and then inside this I'll label, sometimes shorthanded like this. So in this center part, 6 protons, 6 neutrons. Now you see textbook versions of this, they might have like colored circles or dots or something like that, and you can certainly do that, but this is kind of an easy way of looking at this is 6 protons, 6 neutrons. Okay, and then we have to have electron shells. So then I draw another circle around that. This is going to be our first electron shell. Okay, and our first electron shell can have a max of 2 electrons. So I'm going to make the electrons red, these red dots. So we put 2 electrons max in this first shell. We're still going to have 4 electrons. Right, so now we need a second electron shell. Okay, the second electron shell can have a max of 8 electrons. And if we were doing this and had a third and fourth and fifth shell, 8 is the max the rest of the way. Okay, so we used 2 electrons, we have 4 left. So we would put 4 electrons in this second shell. Okay, so what that is then, all of this is our structure of a carbon atom. Hey, and I'm going to give you an assignment that has some of these to practice with. So just remember to use the atomic number and atomic mass that you have. Remember that it's got to be neutral. So the protons and electrons have to be equal. And then it is important to remember this first shell has 2 electrons. Everything after that can have a max of 8. And they've got to be full before you can go to the next shell. Like you can't just put 1 in the first shell, 1 in the second shell, 1 in the third shell. They have to be full before you keep going.